This is the Weigh-In Podcast by Benoit Chestnut and the occasional pop-in Sebastian Romero. On this week's Weigh-In, we're going to talk to you about Ronda Rousey is trying to become Dana White for most valuable promotions. And just so all of you don't get really confused on that, Ronda Rousey is trying to be most valuable promotions, MMA side of things. This is Dana White. She's trying to do what Dana does only for most valuable promotions, that Jake Paul promotion and his partner. So that is what we're going to talk about. And then Dmitry Bivol on trying to become undisputed for what I believe is the second time in his career. And that is the case. So with that being said, that is this week's weigh-in. So we jump right in. We're going to jump into this Dmitry Bivol really quickly for y'all, because I think that Dana White and Ronda Rousey is going to be a little longer of a segment. But let's just talk right here. Dmitry Bivol is in early talks for undisputed stuff. So he previously held all four belts at light heavyweight. Now, however, he opted to vacate WBC world title rather than face mandatory challenger David Benavidez. So look, y'all, Dmitry Bivol is also running from Benavidez. Canelo ran from Benavidez. Now Dmitry Bivol's running from David Benavidez. Well, that must tell us something. Nobody thinks they can beat Benavidez, huh? So, now we talk about the. Let's see. It says here. So David Benavidez faced Anthony Yarde in November, trying to become a 3-time division world champ against Gilberto Ramirez. For the WBO and WBA cruiserweight title. Woo! Y'all, that's this week. That's this week. Gilberto Ramirez, that's this week. That's this Saturday. Y'all, that's what it is. But let me take a look here. Now, I would like to see that. Benavidez Bivol. So, the potential of Bivol, Benavidez, it's going to be good. It's going to be good, Benavidez has repeatedly claimed that he once hurt the Russian unified champ in sparring. Y'all, Benavidez. That's why everybody running from Benavidez. They can't touch Benavidez. So that's going to be interesting if it happens. I know it's in early talks. So David Benavidez, he's got his own thing going. So he's moving up to cruiserweight for the WBA, WBO this weekend, y'all. That's May 2nd. So, please, please, please don't miss that one. You know, what I will say is I got Benavidez winning all day. You know, nobody really wants to face Benavidez. The the top, I'd like to say the top dogs of boxing, the top boxers of boxing, they don't want him. You look at how long we wanted him with Canelo, we never got it. You look at how long we wanted him with Dmitry Bivol. We never got it. So this is what I'm talking about. The stuff we're not getting, but we're getting him with Gilberto Ramirez, Zurdo. They call him Zurdo. I think that's a nice nickname, but like I'm saying, this should be good. This should be good. This should be good for the WBA, WBO. It's they say it's gonna be Amazon Prime Video. Yep, Amazon Prime Video, and also on Days In, I believe, because it's a PBC joint. It's gonna be good, y'all. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be good because he'll be the WBA, WBO champion, and let's that cruiserweight, man, that cruiserweight. So let me go ahead and pull it up. Uh, let me go ahead and pull yours up a good boxing rank, so we can take a look at that cruiserweight. Because that cruiserweight, if you ask me, that cruiserweight, I think that cruiserweight, we talked about it when we talked about our last ranking. That cruiserweight is fairly interesting. Yeah, that cruiserweight, Gilberto's got the WBA, WBO, the IBS vacant, and Norar Melkojan has the WBC, but that IBF is vacant. We talked about this. That's a really good because for David Benavidez, if he snatches that WBA, WBO, your next thought is going to be, and there's no mandatories for this IBF. So that means go ahead. There's nobody's under a mandatory or anything like that. It doesn't look like there's no regulars or interims. So this is a good chance that if you snatch that WBA, WBO, snatch that IBF, you're one belt away from being undisputed. So we really talk about that. I know on here we talk about people becoming undisputed all the time because I think it's a great accomplishment to be undisputed more than it is. It's great to be 4 or 5 division, world champ, I think, but at least make one of those undisputed, you clash it up because at some point you're going to get a super fight out of at least one of them divisions if you make it undisputed. Like, look at how many times Terrence Crawford was undisputed. Look at that. You don't see it like that. You just don't see it. Terrence Crawford is an individual that is very good at what he does, and it's absolutely amazing to see that Terrence Crawford, when he put his mind to becoming undisputed, he was taking guys out, and that's I like it. I like it. Although when you look at middleweight and super middleweight, they got vacancies, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay because it's gonna get good, y'all. It's gonna get good. It's gonna get real good, y'all. I'm not saying it will or won't be, but it's gonna be good, y'all. It's gonna be good, y'all. I'm telling you, with all the vacancies and stuff, it's gonna look. It's gonna look good. It's gonna look good, and I believe it. I believe it, y'all. So let me see what I could show for you. It's just you don't see. You don't see it that often. You don't really see it that often, and that's why I'm saying this is something that when you look at this is, you don't see a lot of guys want to be. You don't always see it. You don't always see it. So that's something that's very interesting. Fairly interesting if you ask me. So to look at that and say, wow, that this is what's gonna happen, that it's gonna go like this. That's a typical way you may see something, or a way it may try and you know revelate itself, in terms of that. And I think when you talk about things like that, it's fairly interesting to see that the way that David Benavidez has gone about it, that the way that all them failed matchups. So let's talk about this other one, this other thing. Ronda Rousey is going to be. It nothing looks like it's official yet. It all just looks like it's just, I would say, rumored. But Ronda Rousey, I believe, is going to become most valuable promotions MMA boss. And, you know, as much as I think that's a great idea, let's start there. I think it's a great idea before everybody gets confused. I think it's a great idea. But I thought Jake Paul, Anderson Silva were supposed to be starting a fighters union. Whatever happened to that? We never saw what went on with that. I guess I guess it may be still coming. I don't know. But we're not here to talk on that. And I think that this is going to get fairly interesting because we have a lot of MMA promotions. And I think adding MVP to that mix, it could be good. You know, it could be good. It could be good. And I think it could be really good. Granted that Jake was trying to do his own thing at one point in MMA, and that kind of didn't really go nowhere. I hate to throw that shade, but it didn't really go nowhere. The PFL did not. Mm-mm. He never had that debut that we thought we were gonna get. So I think in terms of that, yeah, in terms of Ronda Rousey's upcoming matchup, that's what I'm more like. Hey, absolutely, if Ronda Rousey goes through and wins that matchup, that on May 16th, absolutely, absolutely, I would like to see, Ronda Rousey take over as the boss. Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. I don't really see North anything wrong with Ronda Rousey taking that over. I don't. And I think that's really good. And it'll be nice to see the helm of MVP MMA, because I think this is great. I think it's really, really good. And I think that'll be a great thing for MVP MMA and all of that, because you got to look at what's going on with MMA. If you're going to get up and do fights like that, where we're getting Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey back in an MMA ring, if you're gonna do super fights like that, like I said, like I like Real American Wrestling, Real American Freestyle, where we're seeing these megastar matchups and we're loving it. If Jake's gonna do like that, bringing people in, you know, and have matchups with still having that Dana White feel of having, a roster and a staff, having athletes that are signed, you know, I don't see a problem with it. I don't see a problem with letting Ronda Rousey run it. Ronda Rousey knows the MMA game. you got to have somebody at top that knows that game. I kind of feel it's really hard to start without having that, without having that expertise. You know, so it's fairly interesting to see that. It's fairly interesting to do it like Dana White, who, as far as I'm concerned, um, has never fought professionally. He's fought around with a lot of guys, but that's my point. My point here is to do it like that without the expertise. I mean, listen, I'm gonna give Jake some credit because you got Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey fight, that's a good fight. No matter what anybody else says, you're on the way in first. You heard it. We calling it a good fight. You know, I just don't see I just don't think that it's anybody else has got it. Anybody else has it better or not better. I think it's I think it's a good fight. I really do think it's a good fight. I don't think it's not a good fight because the way things go about it, I think, hey, you have done something good here. You have really done something good. And I don't see wrong with the great doing that has been done. You, you line up a fight like that, hey, you can't tell me that ain't something good, That ain't something good. That's something good. That's something real good, for an MMA fight. That's kind of that's kind of something that you don't really expect. You don't expect to have something like that. You kind of think like, wow, you know, you don't expect to have an MMA jointing like that, but I think it's a good thing. I don't see wrong in the actions or anything like that. I think it's great. I think, MVP making a move to MMA is a great thing. You know, that's what I think. In terms of when you ask me, I think it's great. And I can say that because look at the ventures of MVP. They've done great things. You have not seen MVP MMA not do something good at this point, and to see a good MMA promotion is great. I think it's a great thing. I think because I mean, not everybody wants to join PFL or all those other promotions. You got to get somebody who does the game right. And I'm not saying Jake will or will not. I can't speak to that. We'll find out. We'll find out if she does or doesn't. As far as I'm concerned, do it right. Whether she does or doesn't. I mean, whether Jake does or doesn't do it right is, you know, solely depending up to Jake. But at the same time, I believe that if he adds Ronda Rousey to take over the shindig, I think, yeah, I do think that it could get a whole lot better. I do think it'll be a great thing. I do think that even in that case, it will get much better because you're having somebody who knows MMA and who has fought MMA to take over promotion and knows, okay, the ins and outs and knows, okay, you know, I know what I need to make or what I should make. You know, Obviously, it doesn't take somebody to fight MMA to know, okay, most of the fees involved and all of that. But I primarily feel having Ronda Rousey run as the MMA boss for them is something that I think I don't see wrong with it. I don't see what may or may not be wrong with Ronda Rousey running it. I don't see where there's an issue. I kind of see that you gotta kind of I say you gotta kind of take over the promotion like that. You gotta kind of figure out the best way possible forward for a promotion, and having somebody at the top that knows what they're doing, like Ronda Rousey will, I don't see as a bad. I don't see that as a bad idea. I don't really see the issues in having Ronda Rousey run it. If you ask me, I don't see the issues in that. I really don't. To be honest with you, I don't. I don't see the issues into letting Ronda Rousey run it. I don't, and I haven't before, and I won't now. I kind of think that there's great things in terms of letting Ronda Rousey run this, that she very well knows MMA very well. It was very good at MMA. And I think, up till, she had a little uptake in MMA, and then when, there was downfall, but I don't think that has rendered anything wrong for Ronda Rousey to run Jake Paul's joint at any point, because I think Jake Paul has done a great thing in terms of what he's doing with MVP, and how they have gotten, solid fights up. He's got good fighters. He's got great things going on. He's got champions that are putting great stuff up. For Amanda Serrano, he has done great things, and you just can't say that Jake has not done great things. Amidst a lot of the stuff being more about him being main event but he's lost a lot of his pride, and I say that because nowadays he does not always make everything about himself anymore. You see very, very profusely, you see sometimes now you see him letting his other athletes be main events, be, the main event, be everything's not always about Jake anymore. And I think that's a great thing, that Jake has taken this thing in his life that he used to be number one about, that he used to be, oh, it's Jake's show, it's Jake's show. To now, it's no longer Jake's show. It's more about Jake's athletes, and I think that that's great. And the venture over to MMA is a really good thing. That they have done this the way they are doing it, and the way that it has all gone. And I don't really see a situation where it would not be great for Jake. So, I think it's great in terms of that. I think, what Jake is doing is amazing. Jake has continued his way in a positive way. You look at the stuff Jake has done, it's all positive, all positive. And, I think it's only going to get better. And I think it's great. And I think that the best way to go forward for Jake is, yeah, let Ronda Rousey run it. I think let her run it. Let her take over as the MMA boss. And that will very well help. That will very well help you in a big way. I think that there's no way it doesn't not help him. So I think that that's going to be a great thing in terms of that. you know I think that I don't think there's a way where it won't be good for Dana White, or where it wouldn't be good for Ronda Rousey because of the things she's able to do. I think that's great. I think there's a lot of great things in that, and I think it's great to see to let Ronda Rousey take it over. I think that's great. Will it be done right? Will the fighters get paid good dime? Yeah. Will they get paid good money? Yeah, I do. I do believe so. I do. I do. Do I think that it has the potential to rise higher than the UFC? I can't say for sure, but I think it's there. I think if you back it with a lot of money, and you do what you got to do, and you set up the matchups, yeah, yeah. I think a lot of these other promotions that are not so large is they just don't get enough attention, and I think the audience is there because of Jake being behind it, and the things of Ronda Rousey being behind it, and a lot of these people being behind it. And I think it's a good thing. And will it? Yeah. So I think what's going to take the most about it is going to be just how they go about it in promoting. You know, will they do a similar Dana White style? Will they bring back the fighters can get their own promotions again? You know, I think it's going to be fairly interesting to see. Um, and if it does bring back that old school, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be disappointed with that. I think that's a great thing. You know, that was a time when fighters could make, you know, even more as they wanted to. So I don't see it as a bad thing. I think it's great. I think it's going to be amazing. You know, I think that first, let's more than most look at this upcoming bout for Ronda Rousey and Gina, and let's see where that goes, because that even that's going to be really good. We early on, that's amazing. So let's look at what I like to call the grand opening fight. You know, for most valuable promotions MMA, and let's see where it goes from there, and that may tell us more than what we're looking for and most in that sense. And when it does that, you know, we'll be able to partake in all the stuff we can right after that. So I, I like it. I like that, and I like how there's the possibility of Ronda Rousey taking over. You know, I think that that's great. I think that amidst Jake and his boxing guy, I forgot his name, but Jake and the boxing guy. I'm gonna look it up right now because, you know, it's respect. You gotta get names. It's Nairska Berdadarian. Nairska Berdadarian. Um, is his partner, and I think they have done an amazing job. You look at the stuff that they have lined up just Amanda Serrano. How many times have we got Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor on MVP? Because these guys are setting it up. They know what they're doing in terms of boxing, and to bring somebody over like Ronda Rousey to take over MMA would be a great thing. I just see the good that comes from that. I don't see it any other way. You know, for everybody else that's trying to say, well, you know, what whatever they're trying to say, I don't believe in what's anything else that's being said. I think it's a great idea. I think in terms of MVP, I think it's amazing to see somebody like Ronda Rousey take over. I think that's great. I think that's great. You know, that's a good thing, and all the things that are going on, I think that's great, and I I like it. That's the best way I could say it. I like it. I like it. Ronda Rousey taking over. I have no I have nothing against it. Basically, I got nothing against it. I got nothing against Ronda Rousey taking over as the boss. You know. So with that being said, we are in the end. So this is I like to call it a little chill epi because I mean, some of them are not up there with the big stuff, with the big stuff. But trust me, little chill epi here today for y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, share. This is good stuff for y'all. Good stuff. With that being said, this is the weigh-in by Benoit Chestnut and the occasional pop-in Sebastian Romero. And, you know, that's all I got for you. Weigh-in out.
The way in where stories ignite.